Hey everybody, today we're going to talk about the van. A lot of people have been asking for a tour, so we cleaned it up and organized it a little bit, and we're going to go ahead and show it to you. First, I want to kind of go over why we made the choice to get a Ram ProMaster. We had multiple options that we were thinking about. First thought was to do an RV, but the more research we did, the more we found that RVs really aren't meant to live in full time. They're made out of cheap materials that are meant to be light, and those can result in flimsy materials and materials that don't really last very long. The other option, maybe you've seen it, is what they call a schoolie. That's where people take a school bus, maybe that's a long full-size school bus, or maybe it's a short bus, and they convert it into living space. I liked that idea. The problem with that is you have to about have cash to purchase it because it's hard to finance something like that. The other thing is it's just a little bit of an eyesore. So you're gonna have some issues with trying to find places to park. People frown upon the van lifers as it is. A lot of parking lots are closed. We've had to do some stealth camping where we just kind of park somewhere and hope no one knocks on the door, and that's going to be a little bit harder to do with a school bus. So we decided to go with the Ram ProMaster. You have three different options that people like to go with on the vans. The first option, which is the cheapest, most affordable option, that's why you see it a lot with do-it-yourselfers, is the Ram ProMaster. The second option would be a Ford Transit van. The advantages of the Ford Transit is that you can get them in four-wheel drive and they're gas, which this is gas as well. Ford Transit, it's kind of like a next step up from this, about the same. And then some people say it's more squared off on the inside, so it makes the build a little bit easier. The third option, which you see a lot on the road, is more of a luxurious option because it's Mercedes Sprinter. The Mercedes Sprinters you can get with a diesel. You can also get in four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, which makes it nicer if you're doing some more overlanding type stuff. We decided to go with the Ram ProMaster just for the cost effectiveness of it all. And we went with the 3500. We went with the high top, which means it has higher clearance on the inside, so someone that's 6'3" like me can fit in. And we also went with the longer wheelbase. This is what they call the 159-inch wheelbase, which means it's extended a little further, so that gives us a little bit extra room for living space on the inside. So now I just want to kind of walk you around to the back, and we'll check out the back first. So let's go. We did have an accident the other day. If you see this right here, we had a dump truck pull out and hit us, and we're currently working with his insurance company on getting that fixed. So we'll see how that goes. But if you're wondering why this is busted, that's why. So this is going to be the back of our van. This is the area we like to call a garage. It's split doors. One thing I really like about this van is look at how wide these doors open up. Look at that. It gives us nice field of view. It also tucks the doors out of the way. So as you can see here, this is our bed. We'll get in more to that when we get on the inside, but this is the area that I wanted to point out to you. This is what we call the garage type area. Think of it like the garage in your house. This is where we store a lot of overflow stuff and things that we use outdoors. So I'll just run through it real quick just to give you a general idea of how it works. This tote right here is food overflow. This tote right here has rain jackets and some blankets and stuff. This bucket right here just has some climbing gear in it. We have a stove. This tote right here has pots and pans, fishing gear, gas for the burner. This is our hiking bag. I keep this back here. Let me get that out of the way. We have a table that we can get out if we want to cook outside or do anything outside the van. This tote right here is going to be our laundry soap. If you check out the video on YouTube, it has the ingredients for this and everything and the recipe on how Mercedes makes that. We also keep another spare water jug back there. That's 7 gallons of extra water. And then this is actually the burner that we use. It's a 2-burner. So that pretty much concludes back here. Let's go ahead and get that shut. All right, let's go around to the side now. This is gonna be like the front door on your house. This is our front door. This is how we access the living space. This is how we get in and out. As you can see here, we built this little rack right here that stores our refrigerator as well as the main water that we use. We can tilt this down. Now we have access to this water. The eventual plan is to get an in-house water system where we have a sink and stuff on the inside, but since we're building this as we go, this works for us right now. All right, next thing I wanted to show you from out here is we have 2 ceiling fans in here. We chose to go with the Max Air fans. We have one in the front, one in the back. Those are remote controlled. They open and close electronically through the remotes. We can change the direction so we can have them intaking or exhausting. And that comes in real handy if it's hot or if it's cold. If it's hot, we want to create a circulation so we have one blowing in, one blowing out. So let's go on inside and check it out. All right, so now what we're going to go over is the front cab. This is the area, of course, that we sit in when we're driving. As you can see, Arthur's sitting right here in the passenger seat. That's his favorite place to be. The problem is when Mercedes is there, he can't sit there. So what we did was we created this box in the middle. I just threw it together out of some plywood at the storage unit. But what this does is this gives him something to sit on. We've got carpet on the top, a lip around the edge so that he doesn't fall off. And since we're always fighting for storage in the van, this is a great place to utilize for storage. So we hinged it, it's got some magnets on it. We just lift that up and we keep stuff that you would keep in there that you'd want to access when you're driving, just like any sort of center console. Up here, we have a loft shelf situation. What you're seeing right here is the blanket that we use as a divider to divide the cab from the living space. We do that at night so that we have more privacy. It rolls down and then we can clamp it to the sides, and then during the day we can roll it up in here. We also use this kind of like as a trunk in your car. We've got the jack up in there in case we get a flat. We've got some extension cords, an umbrella, just kind of generic storage like you would see in the trunk of a car. All right, so now let's turn around and we'll look at the back. So back, let's start with this side. Right here, this is our refrigerator. So this is a dual zone refrigerator made by Set Power. We did a lot of research, and the reason why I like this one is because one, it runs off 12-volt power. So with our power system, it doesn't draw a whole lot. It actually runs off 12-volt and 24-volt, but right now our electrical system is set up to 12-volt. And our phase 2 power upgrade, we're going to be converting to 24-volt, which is just a more efficient power system. But what I like about this refrigerator is that it's dual zone. So we can actually use it as a freezer and a refrigerator. It's got a small compartment here and then a larger compartment here. Since it's dual zone, we can set the temperatures to be anything we want. We can have them both freezer, we can have them both refrigerator, we can have this one a freezer, this one a freezer, the opposite a refrigerator. What we choose to have it set up as now is we keep the one on the left a little bit cooler than you would a refrigerator, and that's great for having milk and drinks in because it's nice and ice cold when you drink it. And then this side, since it's bigger, we use as our refrigerator. Down here we have a display. This is going to be a digital display that shows our temperatures. This is set to 36, this is set to 34. I really like this. This was a big upgrade. Before we did this upgrade, we were just using a cooler. And even though it was a really nice Arctic cooler, we had to pretty much get ice every day. And as the ice melt, it got your food all soggy. So this is a big upgrade if you're looking for something, even in just your car. I would recommend something like this. It also comes with a cord so you can plug it up to like a house outlet. So if you wanted to use it in your garage or something. Next, we'll go over to the Blue Eddy. This is going to be what powers the whole entire van when the van's not running. This is what controls our lights. This is what powers the refrigerator. If you don't know a lot about power banks, Blue Eddy is a pretty big name in the power bank game. We did an AC 180. This serves all of our needs. This one can be charged off of solar, and we have it set up to where it can charge off the van when we're driving. That's what these plugs are. We can power it off of solar, or we can power it off the van. Right now we have one 220 watt bifacial solar panel on the roof, so it does a pretty good job of keeping it charged up when it's a sunny day. Sometimes it's not sunny. Right now we're on the West Coast and it's been a bit gloomy, so sometimes we have to have the van charge it. Then that would be a downside of the Blue Eddy, is that we can't have those hooked up at the same time. So if we want to charge it while we're driving, we just have to swap these cords. 90% of the time it is hooked up to the solar. And if we push this button right here, this is going to be all our information on the Blue Eddy. On the left, we have the input power, which right now we're not getting any input off of the solar because it's cloudy out. In the middle, we have the level of power that we have, which right now it's at 91%. And with as much power as we're drawing right now, we have 11 hours. On the right, we have our output. As you see, it's at 68 watts. Normally it's not that high, but the reason why it's that high now is because the refrigerator is running, which the refrigerator doesn't run all the time. It only runs as needed. So as long as we're not opening it a lot, the power stays pretty low. And just with the lights, it'll be maybe at 8 watts. So that's actually pretty good that we've got that much power for as much as we're running off of it. Now with the Blue Eddy, I would recommend anybody gets one. You can just use it around your house when there's a storm and your power goes out to charge your devices. This particular one, I've run power tools off of. If you've seen my other video on making the bed, it has AC hookups like your house would. So we have a power strip plugged into there, and we've got the refrigerator running off of that, as well as some other things, some random lights and stuff. This right here is a cigarette lighter. That is going to be DC, which is like your car. So we have that running over here to this distribution block where we have just our lights hooked up to that. Moving on, this is just, think of it like a bedside table. We store just random things in here. I think it's more like our kitchen because the top drawer is food and snacks. Middle drawer is going to be dishes. Bottom drawer is going to be some of Mercedes' overflow shoe storage. Down here on the bottom, we also have more storage. We have some totes with different random things in it. We have this tote that has random food stuff in it. We've got our drinking water down here and the dog bowl. Now, if you look at the back, this is our bed. This is where the magic happens. Getting rest at night so we can have adventures all day. One thing I like about the ProMaster is it's a little bit wider than the Transit and the Sprinter van. So I'm 6'3", and we were actually able to do the bed sideways, and I can fully stretch out in here. We just have a standard mattress off of a bed. I think it's a full or twin. And that's pretty much explains that. Now, underneath we have storage. This is pretty much like Mercedes' closet right here. It's a big old tote on wheels. She can organize all her stuff in there. Got a blanket on top. On this side, we have a little dog den there. As you can see, Kronos is down there hanging out, wanting to go for a walk. Back over here, we have a place that we can hang stuff. This comes in real handy being dog people because we can hang leashes on here, just different dog gear, harnesses. We tend to hang a lot of stuff in this van right now, and that really helps for efficiency. So we've got our bags hung up here. These grocery bags right here have food in them like bread and chips. Down here we have a tote with the dog food in it. This tote has dog's treats. This is shoes. This is like my dresser, I guess you could say. I have the top 3 drawers for my clothes. The bottom 3 drawers, we have dog stuff and some random gear in. On the top, we got this cork board. This serves as our cooking surface most of the time when we're cooking. The cork helps with the heat. Then we have this collapsible camping sink that we put dirty dishes in and do the dishes in. Right now it's being used to store some cookies and some dirty dishes. That's that. And then over here we have my bags. This is like my everyday carry bag and my duffel bag that I take to go shower. Down here we have more storage, just miscellaneous stuff. I think this one's a junk drawer, this one's power cords, and then this one down here is more dog stuff. And then our dirty clothes. So that pretty much covers this wall. Now let's talk a little bit about insulation. I'm sure you're noticing all this black all over here. This is what you call 3M Thinsulate. This is the main insulation that we use in here that you can see visible. This is what makes it to where we don't get super hot in the summer, and it keeps the heat in when it's cool out. If you're doing a van build and you're looking into insulation, I highly recommend this. It is waterproof, it's bug proof, and it's pretty efficient for what it is. You can go check out our other video on insulation. But Right now, you're seeing it all because we haven't done any paneling yet, because we haven't decided what we wanted to do, and we wanted to live in it a little while before we started putting cabinets and stuff in. But all this on the ceiling, everything. Highly recommend, if you're building a van, put some money into insulation, because the amount of sound deadening we get compared to when there was no insulation in it sounded like a tin can before. Now you can be in the middle of a busy parking lot and sleep and you can hardly hear anybody. And it can be an extremely hot day with the fans running one in, one out, and it will actually be considerably cooler in here than it will be outside. So that pretty much covers the inside. Oh, I did want to mention, we did go to a Goodwill and get a nice little rug for the inside, because we haven't done a floor yet, and that just gives it kind of a home vibe, and kind of helps with the sound deadening as well. So thank y'all for checking this out. Keep in mind, this is just phase one. When you're building a van, your top priorities are going to be a place to sleep, a place to hang out, a way to be comfortable. So always start with your insulation. If you don't have good insulation, it's going to be an uncomfortable time. Then you want to go with your bed, and then you move on from there. So we got power, so we can have a refrigerator and the fans. Next will be upgrading the power, which I'm not really going to get up there on the roof, but we have one solar panel. We're going to do one more, two more on the front, two more, and then two total right there. So we'll have a total of 4 solar panels. If you have any questions, just comment down below and I'll try to answer them as the best of my ability. I'm by no means a pro. I'm just learning as we go. We're on a limited budget, so we did the bare minimum of what we needed to do to live in it and get on the road. We have a way to store food, we have water, we have a place to sleep, we have safety, we have warmth, we have cool when it's hot out. So thanks for joining us today, and I'll do another video when we do some more upgrades. Next upgrade is going to be our phase 2 power, so be on the lookout for that video. Have a good day.